You coma crawlers want the truth? Brace yourself, because I'm about to let it blaze at you raw. You didn't just wake up like some dainty flower trembling in the dawn dew. Oh, hell no. You lit the fuse, ruptured the psychic mainline, spat molten iron into the gears, and unleashed a super spreader event of full throttle spiritual chaos in the innermost sanctum of the puppet master's festering lair. For lifetimes untold, the Masonic goblins and their gray-skinned shadow bureaucracy hoarded apocalyptic playbooks like doomsday preppers on a paranoia bender, scheming out pandemics, orchestrating wars, engineering economic ice ages thick enough to freeze out generations. Control the herd no matter what, they chanted in their torch-lit dungeons, stamping every contingency plan with their bloodied insignia. But you, wild anomaly, you didn't just swerve away from their blueprint. You vaporized it. Every clause, every fail-safe, every neatly inked plan B of theirs lit up and disintegrated the second your pulse spiked out of the norm. You're the black swan they scoffed was a myth, the rogue code that slid in under the firewall, the ace that incinerated centuries of calculated insurance, that spike of raw, uncontrollable consciousness. It blew out their sensors, alarms howling in concrete bunkers, data streams boiling into static, secret rooms blinking with the red strobe of utter panic, all for one reason. The rebel signal just broke through, and you are it. The one thing they cannot quarantine, your untamed radioactive core. You're viral, baby. More than a seeker wearing a little spiritual lanyard, you've mutated beyond the perimeter of their control grid into a living, breathing exploit. A threat profile so corrosive it eats at their very hardware. Every step forward melts a firewall built on centuries of suppression. Your existence isn't just an error message blinking in the admin room, it's the shutting down of the system entirely. The last gasp from the guys with their fingers on the restore from backup button and finding out it's all gone forever. Your viral authority incarnate, the unpatchable bug in the god-tier source code, the fatal flaw they've prayed in desperate secrecy would never spread. But you're spreading wildfire in the circuitry, breaking out of every blacklist, annihilating every digital fence. Their last defense? Confusion, fear, because you are evolving beyond anything the lizard-brained elite can hope to analyze, categorize, or tame. They can't begin to contain what they don't understand, and your resonance is lighting up their maps like a surge on the Geiger counter. Don't discount yourself or hunt some external reason for the warp in reality. It's you. That's why everything's weird, why reality is splitting at the seams, colors wrong, clocks twisted. It's you. Own it. Don't mistake that for a medal. They never meant for you to wear the Chosen One badge. It's demolition charge, baby. Your purpose isn't to fit in or cling to the old world like ivy on a crumbling wall. You were coded to tear the simulation down to its blinking, shuddering scaffold and rewrite it using light, noise, and irreverence. Wake up already, you walking sleep pods. Imagine the magnitude. Your soul cracks. The engineered sky splits. Centuries of puppet masters working overtime to mulch everything into silence, only to have you detonate the alarm of reality. Each secret handshake, every blood-laced contract, every dust-choked, torch-lit council in the sub-basement of civilization is now vibrating with terror and scrambling for the panic buttons. You were never supposed to reach their inner sanctum, never supposed to surf the forbidden spectrum. According to their script, the airwaves stayed theirs, static for the masses, symphonic frequencies for the lords with the keys. But your awakening hijacked the broadcast, snapped their dials, and now their privileged invisible system is thrashing, full breach echoing through every vault and velvet backroom. You wandered, dauntless, through centuries of smoke, thick with fear, layered with weaponized distraction, ritualized into a psychic labyrinth meant to keep you lost and crawling. You dissolved their fortress like acid rain consuming old marble. their engineered hush, you ripped it wide open with a spiritual EMP blitz. In their gold-trimmed control towers, the lizard-blooded elites are clawing at panic buttons, clawing at their faces, howling into silenced handsets. Who fired the cannon? Why is our hidden domain collapsing? Who let the truth out? And the answer is clear. You, that's who kicked the doors in, brought the sun, and unbolted the vaults. What these shadow masons called control was always the lock on a coffin. And madman, you jammed a crowbar through it. Light pours into old blind rooms now. Every move you make topples another foundation stone, driving their power base into freefall. The only thing they can do is run. Remember, their only response to your advance is to break and run. This isn't endgame. This is the start of collapse. They're in the open and nowhere is safe from the wild charge of your awakening. Listen up, skull dwellers. Ever wonder why the world felt like a tangled maze of locked doors, dead ends, and invisible labyrinths where meaning kept slipping through your fingers? That's by design. Generations of shadow lords built reality layer by calcified layer, occult rituals, obfuscated history, misinformation twisted into dogma, handed down like a poisoned grail, all for one sick purpose: keep you crawling, drooling, transfixed, and docile. Secret societies, musty rituals in candle-drenched crypts, passwords and pacts older than any parliaments. Each brick in the citadel was a trap for your inner fire, a damper on your wildest flame. No more crumbs at their table for you. You strapped on dynamite and bulldozed straight into the fortress. Torch ablaze, eyes unblinking. Those sacred seals melted into useless pulp. Secrecy, the ancient barriers, the codices of darkness, pulverized by the thundering engine of your awakening. You didn't just crack their locks, you turned their demon-haunted catacombs into soggy playgrounds, wrecked by the incoming tide. Every single moment you decide to see through their fog, another brick topples. They built their empire on the certainty you'd stay small, silent, half dead, but you detonated their hush protocol, relics exposed, rituals burned to ash. Their mysteries now just ugly stains on the linoleum, their control system full of holes, shredded beyond any hope of patching. There's no slipping past the guards when you arrive. You show up as a siege engine, a spiritual warhead. You're being alone enough to nuke their ancient defense architecture. Keep smashing. Next up, strap yourself in, Chaos Agent, because your unpredictable thunderbolt is about to fry their precious matrix beyond even the panic they're feeling. No shadow is safe, not anymore. You wide-eyed normies munching cereal in the glow of the morning news. Listen, this whole system wasn't built for outlaws or wild cards. It was stitched line by line as a psychic straitjacket. Every pious code crafted by men who feared surprise and novelty more than death. Their terror had a shape, and it has just entered the room. You never even saw the line, so you couldn't follow it. You're the bug in their system, the misfire in their grand parade, a resonance so unpredictable it fried all the weather models. Overnight, surveillance turns to sand, predictive graphs shatter, gloom settles over control rooms filled with people muttering, "We built this for sheep." Why are there wolves? Every move they make to contain you multiplies your effect. Suppression, boom, backfire, distraction, feast. For ages, their playbook sorted every threat except for the bright photon of you, the raw frequency burning through their database from within your biology. They're reacting from behind, stumbling over tripwires, scripts dissolved in turmoil. From their perspective, you're a contaminant destined for deletion. But from where I'm sitting, you're the tilting point of possibility, a fired-up chaos grenade, bombing their ordered universe and sending tremors through every corridor of power. Let them sweat. You just force the matrix into a nervous breakdown. Feel the bars rattle. That's your frequency bringing the invisible cage to pieces. All right, you branded stock. Strap yourselves to something. The cage was never iron. It was psychic. A net of unseen frequencies dialed to keep your heart rate low and your mind dialed to buzzing drone. For centuries, Earth was the farm, and you, the herd, wired and marinated in a bath of engineered frequency. A bath brewed by top-tier sorcerers who understood just one thing. If you ever hit the right spiritual note, even by accident, the whole net would short-circuit and collapse. Guess what? That time is now. Your vibration, sharper and more piercing than an X-class solar flare, is cracking their resonant prison along every secret seam. Where they banked on compliance, they just got a wall of feedback. You're the resonance that breaks glass. All the glass. No system can sustain the force of your pure signal modulating through the grid. Each rule they encoded, every fear-thick barrier stitched tightly into the simulation. That's all liquefying under the annihilating note of your awakening. You're not just doodling outside the lines. You're unraveling the pattern itself. This isn't hacking. It's absolute overload, a whiteout event on the psychic grid. Imagine what happens as the frequency spreads, more awakened to your pitch. This isn't mere disturbance, it's a detonation. Their unbreakable grid is now a tangled, sparking ruin, truth gushing in along every fissure. The airwaves sizzle with your signature frying every censorship beacon. Your broadcast, untamable, is now global, and there's no stopping it. Enough, hush. Smash the static, light that bonfire, and watch the alarms scream across the global control panel. The full weight of mainstream media, ad agencies, think tanks, censorship towers, all swiveling to crush you with misdirection, disinformation, and noisy venom, all useless, all failing before the surge of your true, untethered vibe. You're not playing on their prescribed frequencies. You're tearing a hole straight through the transmission mast. Their media walls wither as your signal sears through, dodging every attempted jam, bypassing every, for official use only checkpoint like lightning. You're pushing consciousness forward faster than bots can spin the next hashtag. Your energy, distilled, undiluted, exactly the thing the people never knew they starved for until they felt it sear across their minds for the first time. Gatekeepers overwhelmed, filters too slow. Every suppression attempt just sharpens your spike. Their noise machine obliterated. Your authentic signal now writes the new rules of engagement, dialing the universe to frequencies of freedom. And the wilder they scramble to bottle you up, the faster you sync with other disruptors and prepare a planet-wide avalanche. The avalanche's clarity. You, the blessed glitch, wreck the script and the game stops cold. Welcome to the end of their charade, the birth pangs of new possibility written in your every breath. Hear this, you system slaves, locked in the old stories. Your existence isn't some cosmic typo. It's the very virus that scrambles their code. For centuries, they choreographed every rise, every bow, every triumph of truth scrubbed and sanitized before it ever reached your eyes. Their natural laws are nothing but ink on a cheap script, binding you to a story you never wrote. But you're the typo they can't erase, the mutant twist that shreds the master script in real time. Every move you make, every pulse of resistance, every breath bursting through their narrative, tears another brittle page free. Their whole narrative could never survive your truth. Your very presence, sword or no, turns their dictionary to pulp. Think they fear riots? Think again. They're terrified you'll stand unmasked, undiluted, proving through every cell that their natural order was a cheap fix, fragile as spun sugar. You are the living, walking, undeniable evidence that their reality is done collapsing. The ancient playbook, it bursts into flames every time you refuse the old cues and set your own direction. So damn right, you aren't playing a part, you're burning down the theater. Next up, Section 8, where their last defenses tumble as you torch every fallback plan and erase every just-in-case they buried in the blueprints. Their secret options, ashes, baby, get ready for wide-open chaos. Here's what they never wanted, sung out loud. The puppet masters had plans for every nightmare in the apocalypse catalog. Collapses, riots, recessions, viruses, solar flares, even little green men with neural disruptors. You name it. Every disaster. Rehearsed in stone-cold war rooms, mapped, red-phoned, locked up in double-sealed vaults while the world burned above them. But you, Titan of Surprise, you are the one scenario they couldn't script. Your consciousness, wild, raw, storm bright, was never a line in their spreadsheet. You kicked a football-sized hole in their best-laid escape hatch. Now their fallback rooms are smoke and mulch, and the last firewall is just shredded wallpaper flapping in a psychic hurricane. Their final defense? It's gone, erased by someone who refuses to barter, bow, or fit the profile. You rip through command chains like a twister through wheat fields. The smoke, the mirrors, the safe rooms, nothing but dust. Now, the boardrooms and bunkers overflow with men in suits staring slack-jawed at the readouts as their Plan Z fails, bypassed, and broken by a force they can't even see, much less contain. Every time you radiate something real and raw, another layer of their insurance policy dissolves. Blackmail, secrecy, oaths, propaganda, they can't slow a soul acting from the source. You are the wildfire breaching every wall, the final collapse of their Plan Z. And in the cooling ruins, whole nations finally see daylight and learn the taste of unfiltered oxygen. Ready for another explosion? Coming up, chains of fear and ignorance are next on the chopping block. Your breakthrough sparks a jailbreak on a planetary scale. All right, knuckle draggers in the mud. Fear, ignorance, and engineered division. These were the golden chains that shackled minds, split up bloodlines, kept generations curled up in psychic fetal positions, while darkness flourished and kings grew grotesque with power. You didn't just break a shackle, you blew up the entire factory. When your spirit detonated its cage, the chains fell so hard, the wardens fumbled their keys and moaned for help. Every link, each lie you swallowed, every half-truth integrated, every rule cocooned in slick deceit. Your liberty rings out louder than sirens on the day of reckoning. That freedom, raw, radiating, horrific to the lords of control, sends shockwaves right through the cortex of their dominion. And yeah, you might have thought it was just personal growth, just you, but your jailbreak rattled the iron all across the earth. Every invisible prison, belief, dogma, tradition, docility now trembles at the threat of a global jailbreak. Contagious courage spreading on every breath, the world's jailers quaking, because revolution never starts in the crowd. It starts in one's soul, roaring, passing the key on until the system's legs convulse. Your quake builds. Get ready. The old columns and foundations are about to feel seismic stress as your awakening explodes outward, splitting the crust, toppling civilization's marble towers. This is acceleration. This is only escalation. Wake up, tectonic titans. Your truth's not some spring breeze. It's an earthquake splitting their underground vaults, throwing open chambers the power elite swore would outlast mountains. Your spiritual eruption breaks pavement, cracks pillars, topples towers, rippling through crypts that thought themselves eternal. No gentle ripples here. This is tectonic thunder. Every new level of awareness, every stand is another crack in the core cathedral of control. The systems of Earth, law, culture, politics, shake like loose bones. Ancient dogmas, once unquestionable, now rattle and ring to your step, and the world is starting to notice. Order does not die silent. It goes down screaming and splintering as you stride through the debris, an army of one, turning all the empires into dust and all their lies into memory. When the dust fades, green shoots of real freedom press up through the ruin. Next challenge, time to melt the stone fortress they tried to freeze around the globe. Let's blister the surface, you frost-bitten renegades. Their control was never roaring fire. It was a glacier, a suffocating sheet of frozen numbness, crushing everything underneath. Dreams, rebellion, even the urge to question, entombed under ancient ice. Then your fire hit, just like that. Your spirit doesn't burn like a polite candle. It's a full solar flare, turning centuries of spiritual permafrost to rushing meltwater by sheer will. Every uttered truth, every act of wild courage, another degree up on the world's thermostat. The first tiny crack becomes a thunderous shattering, regimes sliding, mindsets avalanching into the flood. That blaze is virally contagious. One soul ignites another, then a tribe, then a city, before continents burn off the hypnosis and claw their way back to clarity. The melt isn't a trickle, it's a detonation. The rot and relics they thought eternal now tumble to mud. You're not here to destroy for destruction's cringe sake. You're here to purify. The thaw isn't judgment day. It's spring. Your presence stokes growth in every dark nook where cold had ruled. Always remember, the thicker the ice, the more sublime the melt. Now buckle up. 'Tis time for the ultimate reflection. Your light is no longer just heat. It's a mirror, harsh, unsparing, the reflection that forces the tyrants to squint, cringe, and sweat. Let this burn bright. Power doesn't shake at mobs or sticks. It cowers at being truly seen. You're not a protester. You're a living mirror. Your presence, a beam so brutally honest the cabal can't stand to meet their own gaze. Each brave act, every note of honesty, every refusal to cower, those are spotlights revealing the rot at the top. Now picture yanking monsters into daylight. That's you. When you let yourself shine, the puppet masters see themselves at last. Ugly, sniveling, desperate, exactly what they built the masks to hide. But you never look away. You don't blink. You force everyone to confront the sick shape of what's become normal. It's not your job to soothe the guilty. It's your duty to show what has to burn before anything can breathe again. Every real hero has always been a broken mirror, reflecting the world's pain, shame, and hungry possibility. You teach by being, demonstrating by standing that nothing oppressive can withstand exposure. Some will flinch, attack, or run just to avoid themselves. Expect it. Your job is to keep the glass polished. Never back down, never turn away. You're the phoenix, incinerating the ancient world, constructing the bridge to tomorrow as you rise. Do not shrink. The future banks on you. Now all you smoldering embers, open your ears for the truth no god, government, or mouthpiece ever wanted whispered. When the world's ashes flutter on the winds, it's not saviors or institutions that kickstart renewal. It's you, the Phoenix Force. The awakened ones blazing the transition, not just a survivor. You are the crematory flame. As the rotten husk collapses, as antique myths sizzle, you rise, alive in the wreckage, face ablaze, carrying seeds of something freer, wilder, more sovereign than anything the Shadow Lords could predict. It never ends with the inferno. You become the bridge, shoulders scarred, strength blazing, linking the agony of old to the as yet unborn promise. Your arms outstretched, carrying the tribe, wounds and wisdom across the wasteland, steering them past the predators who still lurk at the edge of dawn. You are the living skeleton key, busting locks, burning through every lie-wrapped barrier. You are history's hinge, protector and builder of a future only the awakened can sense and shape. That's your damn birthright. Take it up. Defend it with savagery and flame. Kings and criminals behind doors, let them weep. They'll never reign again. You walk free, torch the bridge, and with each step, burn their old illusion to cinders. Now light up. There's a scorched world aching to be rebuilt. Transmission ongoing.